Jonathan Taylor. Good to meet you, man.
Pleasure. Likewise.
Yeah, I heard that you have some good impressions.
I heard that from you. I heard that about you.
Conte said that to me. He said, he came up to me and said, yeah, Jonathan's good. And he said, first thing he said when I told him that you were going to chat with him, he's like, am I going to have to do impressions?
Because I know you set a high bar, and I'm like, I don't know if I can meet that requirement.
Nah, man, you run the rock, I do the impressions. We all got our things, you know what I'm saying? We all got our things. I heard you're a big space guy, too. Is this true?
Yes, I am.
How so? What are you into?
I'm just into what's out there in the world. I mean, if you ever just stop one night and just look up at the sky, I mean, even now, I mean, you just look up at the sky, like it's so much that you can't see, it's so much that you can't even fathom, and the fact that it's so difficult to discover things out there, it's fascinating because there's so much more out there to know.
Do you have a telescope?
I do have a telescope. My parents, I'm sure there's a story on it in college, but my parents had got me a telescope before for my birthday, and ever since then, I've been, trying to get telescopes and just. Can't see much with the telescopes I got, but just looking through the telescope and just wondering.
Now you can probably afford a better one now, though. So maybe you get a bigger, better one and find some crazy stuff. You believe in aliens?
I do believe that there is some other kind of life form out there. No, not necessarily a walking similar to a person, but there is some other form of life, whether it be a speck of bacteria or something.
That's kind of boring, though, right? Because like on Mars, they got those little bacteria things. That's technically life, but I'm talking like alien.
And it's tough. And when you think about it, it's like, man, what are the chances we got so lucky? You and I are just lucky enough to be, living, breathing, thinking beings, and we're the only ones. So it's tough. I always go back and forth between the two.
It can keep you up at night, You can go down some YouTube rabbit holes.
Oh my! You don't want to go down that YouTube, especially. You might end up on that, and then by the end of the night, you could be ending up on a toothbrush or something crazy. YouTube rabbit holes are ridiculous.
Insane. Exactly. What's your favorite space movie?
I would definitely have to say Martian.
Martian, Matt Damon.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's Interstellar's up there for me.
I was thinking Interstellar. I was thinking that when you just asked the question, and then I was like, but I did like Martian.
Martian's
I did like
cool, man. Yeah, I can't decide which one's more unrealistic, but they both make for like really entertaining movies, which is all you can ask for. Yeah. You like Indy? I mean, it's kind of similar to Wisconsin, right? I mean, you're not too far removed.
That's what I tell people all the time. It's very similar to Wisconsin. Yeah. Very, very similar. Also similar to back home where I'm from. I'm from Salem, New Jersey.
Yep.
So South Jersey is like a small rural area. So there's a lot of open land in between each town.
Okay.
So everywhere I've been, it's kind of been similar. Madison might have been the most distinct with it being, that downtown atmosphere, but other than that, Wisconsin and Indiana is really similar to back home.
Right. So you're not from the Jersey part of like the hey gabagoo.
Yeah,
like,
no,
you're
Jersey.
Not none of that.
But and usually when people say, "Hey, I'm from Jersey," I'm like, "Oh yeah, what part?" They're like North Jersey, and I have to tell them, "Well, I'm from South Jersey." Salem, New Jersey, really small. You probably never heard of it.
Okay, gotcha. No, I haven't. So I'm just when I think of Jersey, I think of those kind of the shore and the Sopranos and all that. I didn't know there was that whole other portion out there. But since you had your time in Wisconsin, what are your thoughts on spotted cow?
It's I would say, not necessarily my taste, but very, very popular.
Man,
very popular. But maybe I need to take a step on that side. Similar to like, cheese curds. South Jersey never really was my taste, but then once I got to Wisconsin, cheese curd there, cheese curd here, these are pretty good.
Not bad.
Not bad. These are pretty good.
What do you dip your cheese curds in?
Ranch.
Okay.
Ranch guy.
It's tough to go wrong with fried cheese and ranch.
That was a good move. That was the first sauce that I've tried, and I never wavered from it. I'm like, this is a solid combo. I never really had cheese curd before. I'm going to stick with it.
Nice. Look at you, man. Learning all this stuff when you went to Wisconsin. That's great. Yeah, big food place. It's crazy. The reaction that people will have when I say, I'm the same, spotted cow.
Hasn't been too bad there. Oh, yeah.
People worship spotted cow. It's wild. So I had to know with your 4 years there? 3 you came out. 3 years there, I didn't know if people were just like, I gotta have a spotted cow. So, I feel you there. Speaking of cheese curds, and on Wisconsin food, Culver's. You a big Culver's guy?
Man, Culver's, yeah. So I love cookies and cream. So getting a concrete mixer, I mean, that's my taste. That is my
absolutely. You go with the Butterburger, the Lux.
I've had Butterburger, yes. Not often though, but when I do, Butterburger, Oreo, concrete.
I was gonna say, so for your diet, does that do you have basically like
cheat meal.
April, June, maybe that you can eat that? I mean, when does that stop to where you're like, no more Culver's, no more fried stuff? When are your cheat meals?
So yeah, I'll definitely say April. You start winding down. Once May hits, I mean, it's really strict. You have to start preparing. OTAs preparing, and with the 2 years that I've had so far, I mean, the year that I had so far, usually or normally they said you would come in around April. So that may change if things start to change with everything that's going on now. We go back to normal. It may change to like April. You got to start cutting it down as well.
Okay, gotcha. So that would be. What is your cheat meal? Is it Culver's? What is it?
So definitely. So you got to have a sweet portion of the
big sweet
cheat meal. So the sweet portion would definitely be a Culver's concrete mixer. And then for the cheat meal, I'd probably either get a Toppers, garlic parmesan, boneless wings.
Boneless?
I'm a boneless guy.
So what do you, I mean, the people who are all like, those are basically chicken nuggets, that doesn't bother you?
It doesn't, because it's like, if I want bone in, that's a special occasion. Maybe it's a football game watch, like a watch party. You got to have the bone in. But if it's just me by myself,
bone in wings, right?
If it's just me by myself having a good time, I'm gonna go ahead and get my boneless wing.
I think more people than you would think probably have that same feeling. They're just too insecure to be like, yeah, I do like boneless wings, because everybody's just like, what? Like, it's not real wings.
And sometimes you just want to pop them in, and pop them in, do whatever you want to do. Get a little concrete mixer. But like I said, if you're in a nice environment, a group setting, pass me some of those wings. Okay, then we can go with the drum. We can go with the flats, the drums. We can get into that part.
You drum or flat guy?
I'm a drum guy. A lot of people like flats, but it's like,
this is where we part ways.
I'm like, especially if you want your wing crispy, or you want a crunchy wing, the flat, it's like you don't get as much of the crunch, the crispness.
You know what you do get though? More meat. So that's kind of the.
Okay.
You sacrifice the crunch for the meat. That's fine. If that's what you want to do. You got quite the running back group here, man. You got Mark Mack, Naeem Hines, Jordan Wilkins, who's healthy. We got a nickname for this running back room?
Man, you can't even say, like, the most you would have is a three-headed monster usually when you have three backs, but we have more than three backs.
Right.
So I don't know what would be the next thing past. You can't even say Hydra. Hydra's three. We need something more than three.
I was thinking on my way up here, I got a few for you. Maybe this, we can work with it. About the carriage, it's like a horse carriage.
The carriage.
You guys are just carrying people.
The carriage. Or we could just say the stable.
The stable. That was my first one, the stable. But I felt like that was too much of a gimme, so I went to the carriage. The rodeo could be fun, right? The horse, you're kind of, a bunch of horses running around, getting wild. And then the last one I put down. Carousel, like a Colts carousel, like it's at the circus.
I can't do the carousel. That's too friendly. But it could be a nice version though. They're like, they call themselves the carousel, and we show up.
Man, you're coming out of the stable, dude. Yeah, I'm knocking heads. What's your touchdown dance right now? Do you have one?
Not yet. I was just talking to Naheem about this. He was like, man, we got to get you. We got to get you some energy when you score. I've always been a guy to, and act like you've been there before, but
you're a hand the ball to the ref guy.
Hand the ball to the ref.
Give me some on that, dude. That's pretty solid.
But Naheem's been talking to me about. I'm sure you saw last year. I mean, he has a bunch of tricks.
Got some crazy.
He has a bunch of tricks up his sleeve, so he's the guy to talk to. I have to coordinate with him.
He's got some crazy stuff. I got one I want to pitch to you here.
Okay.
It's not on the energy level that Naheem was looking for, but so my YouTube channel, it's Cup of Joey, right? And so it's like, because my name, it's like coffee, right? Cup of Joey. So I'm thinking like you get in the end zone, cross the goal line, you know, maybe hand the ball to the ref or whatever, and then when you hand the ball to the ref, you just kind of turn to the camera, and it's like you're having a little tray of espresso, and you just sip some espresso.
I like that. I like that because
classy.
it's similar to you know, I know you heard people like, you know, sipping their tea. They're like, it's similar. Like, I don't know what happened. I'm just over here. I like that.
Right.
I like that. That's kind of my flow. That's kind of
right, because you don't have to get too crazy, but it's still a little something. I think honestly, I mean, I was going to ask you, do you consider yourself? Like, I feel like a lot of national media kind of overlooks you as like, you know, a stud running back. Do you think so?
I mean, it's always been like maybe because of my energy maybe because of that. I've always been a guy though who just, no matter where I was, high school, college, and now here, you know, like every time I get the ball, just do my job, play my hardest, and you know, stay humble. You know, just because at any moment it can be taken away from you. And
so it doesn't bother you when they're not like, you know, they're throwing Saquon Barkley and all these Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor. You had a hell of a year last year, man, and I feel like you're not getting talked about enough.
And I'm like the guys you mentioned. I mean, well deserved. I mean, those guys are playmakers.
Yeah.
So it's. I think the thing about it is, I'm lucky it's not my job to put guys in order. You know, it's my job to just go out there and play.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Good deal, man. Well, that's all I have for you. Now that you've finished on the TD dance and you're kind of with it, like you said, you're sipping espresso, and I'll be like, oh, JT, we know. But then for you also, it's like, you know, all the people who overlook you a little bit in the national media, you're kind of Frogger, or not Frogger, Kermit. You're Kermit sipping the coffee mug, you know what I'm saying? So I like it. Jonathan, I appreciate the time, man. Great to meet you.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Awesome.
And likewise.
Yeah,
as well.
awesome.